Hey, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy Opens, we're going to be taking a look at the NECA Mirage Comics Savanti Romero figure. Savanti Romero first appeared in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mirage Volume 1, Issue 8 from July 1986. They are the former apprentice of Lord Simultaneous. They are a humanoid sorcerer, time lord of sorts, who was banished to the past as a form of punishment. And then furthermore, Lord Simultaneous also decided to change their appearance to the more demon-esque appearance that they're known for as a, like I said, further punishment for his crimes against time, I guess. And there you go. As per usual, NECA does a fantastic job with their comic figures, with the art and the pictures and everything, but let's go ahead and get this figure free from its fantastic plastic prison and see what we think about Savanti Romero. Fresh out the box, Savanti Romero looks amazing. NECA has done it again. Fantastic translation from the page to plastic. It's just excellent and very, very eye-catching. You're just kind of drawn to him because he's so just weird looking. And then picking the figure up, they feel great. The joints are nice and firm for the most part, but there are stuck joints as per usual with a lot of NECA's figures. However, that is preferable to loose joints. So there's that. Gotta give it to NECA here on the sculpt again. They do such a great job as per usual with all of these Turtles figures. But here with Savanti, I just feel like, well, can I call him Savanti? I don't know. Am I on a first name basis with this thing? I guess. I think so. I think we're close enough, and especially the way I'm handling him. I guess that's kind of weird if I didn't know him. I don't know. This is getting weird. But back to the sculpt. They managed to capture all of his menacing looks and just I guess evil or just weirdness that is just like not friendly, I guess, not nice, I guess. His not nice looks is probably a good way to say that. At the same time, giving him a touch of his goofiness that is present in his looks as well from the books. It's just a fantastic job by NECA all the way around here. And the fact that it has an articulated jaw. Again, y'all know I love articulated jaws, and this works really well. Now, I will say that despite always loving the visual look of digitigrade legs, the practicality of them in the form of action figures, I'm not the biggest fan of them because I tend to find that they are a little bit difficult to have them stand on their own and stay that way. But they look fantastic and they're fun to look at and they're fun to play with, but just when you're ready to put them down, it's kind of difficult. On top of just the sculpt, the paint is fantastic. His red beady eyes are just excellent. And then the horns are also excellent and very well done, very well painted, and have a depth to them that just makes them pop. And they look and feel fantastic, and I'm just really impressed with them. So Savanti comes with 6 pairs of interchangeable hands, 1 time scepter, an energy magic bubble effect that works on the wrist and the scepter, 1 green fire fist effect, and 1 figure stand. All right, so let's take a look at the articulation you're going to get out of Savanti Romero. So starting with the head, you got 360 at the neck. However, they are impeded a little bit by the horns. But it's you can easily just move them if you need to, but it does kind of get in the way a little bit when it hits the spikes on the shoulder too, but it's not that much of a problem. They can look up a really good amount. They can look down pretty decently as well. One of my favorite things, as you all know, is the articulated jaw, which is fantastic here. And there's that. Then in the arms, you got 360 rotation at the shoulder. You got 360 bicep. You got up and down at the shoulder as well. You have a double jointed elbow. You have a swivel wrist with a hinge on it as well, but mine is pretty stuck. But you can see it right there. And then in the chest, you get 360 at the chest as well as an ab crunch. And side to side, all kinds of movement in there. Lots of wiggle room. You should have 360 at the waist, but mine will not do it. And actually, I don't know if you actually can because it feels like a lot more than just stuck paint or a stuck joint that's keeping it from doing that. So, and I don't want to break my figure. So it does not feel like you got 360 at the waist, which is odd. Moving on to the legs, you got a really good stretch. What do they call that? A split. There we go. I don't know why that escaped me for the moment. But yeah, lots of range there in the legs. You got a thigh swivel. You also have a single jointed leg, but it's got a good range of motion. And then you have a ankle joint that is not an ankle rocker. It is just a joint that is right there, and you don't have any other movement, just back and forth with the ankle there. And I do believe that is all the articulation you're going to get out of Savanti Romero. And surprisingly, I could not find any height or weight information on this character from the books or really any fiction, so don't really have anything to compare it to. However, this figure itself stands just over 7.5 inches tall and weighs around 6 ounces. So now let's see how he compares to some other figures you might have in your collection. Here he is with NECA's Mirage Comics Gray Shirt variant Casey Jones and NECA's Mirage Comics Splinter. Here he is with NECA's Return to New York 4-pack Donatello and the knockoff NECA Mirage Comics Michelangelo. Here he is with Hasbro's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Power Rangers Lightning Collection Leonardo Blue Ranger figure and Super 7's TMNT Ultimates Donatello. Here he is with Jazzware's Agent Peely and SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Demons. Here he is with Marvel Legends Loki and Fresh Monkey Fiction's Krampus figure. Here he is with Mattel's Masterverse Skeletor and Jada Toys Fei Long. Here he is with Toonami's Inuyasha figure and Bandai's Pokemon Gardevoir model kit. Here he is with McFarlane's Corrupted Superman and NECA's April 2.0. Here he is with SH Figuarts Street Fighter Akuma figure and Hasbro's TMNT Power Rangers Lightning Collection Shredder Green Ranger Dragon Shield, whatever this Shredder is called. I forget what he's called. Savanti Romero is one of those early Mirage Volume 1 TMNT villains that just came out of nowhere. I remember reading those early issues when we were reviewing them for the podcast Turtle Soup, and I remember thinking that, like, this is bizarre. Like, I was not expecting to have so much random stuff happen early on in the first, 10 issues of the Ninja Turtles. I was thinking it would be more foundational, like just more structure and more canon to the Turtles lore. I mean, that stuff's there, but like a lot of the time, and true to Mirage Volume 1, a lot of random stuff happens in those books. And Savanti Romero is one of those great things that just got thrown to the wall and stuck. And yet again, NECA has done an amazing job bringing another classic character from the comics to plastic form for our shelves. I love all the detail that is in this figure. They look fantastic. I love how they were able to get a lot of the, I guess you could say, evilness, like, to make them look kind of, I guess, for lack of a better term, demonic. And yet still there's a soft touch of the just kind of goofiness that is in his design, as well as like the way he's drawn on the page, kind of like the Elmer Fuddness, I guess, if that's a thing, that is somehow like embodied in this character. I don't know, maybe I'm hyping that up too much, but nevertheless, fantastic job. And I gotta say, adding spikes to anyone's shoulder just instantly makes them evil. I don't know anyone with spikes on their shoulders. I know a few people with chips on their shoulders, but I don't know about spikes. But that always makes me wonder, like, how do they sleep? Like, do they go to the mattress store and get like a regular mattress, or do they all sleep on hay and it just works out like somehow? I don't know. If you know how that works, let me know. It's kind of the same thing with like, how do these characters get their costumes? Like, do they go to a costume designer, or is there like a special one like there is in Invincible? Like, I don't know. I've got a lot of questions, but nevertheless, spikes on the shoulder, whoever you are, I'm for them, good or bad. They're neat. I also gotta say, my favorite thing I think about this figure is the accessories. The fact that they included an energy piece, like the green bubble energy piece, that can go on the scepter as well as the wrist of the figure, that is fantastic. And I would love to see that implemented more and more across all action figure lines. I think that would be a really cool thing to kind of, I don't know, it just adds a lot of diversity and a lot of like range to like what you can do with it, instead of just having one piece for this and one piece for that and whatnot. And it just, I don't know, it just adds a lot more to the character and to the, to the figure, I mean. Savanti's a ton of fun to pose and just looks really cool in a lot of the poses that I was able to get him into, or at least in my opinion. And he works pretty well with all of the comic figures from the Turtles line. I think he just works well with that as intended. And he's got a little bit of a very distinct look to him that might not work with a lot of lines. However, I mean, he's a demonic figure, so who's to say that like demons just look like they're from Mirage Comics, you know, back in the 80s. Like that's just how it is in every reality. So, I mean, I don't know, you could probably make that work, but I don't know, you might just have to be creative if you're trying to get him to intermingle with some other action figure lines that you might have. And then the only negative things that I have to say about this figure are really just the digitigrade legs. He's very difficult to like stand and keep in a pose because of the way the legs are designed, but they look really cool, and I get it, and that's why they included the figure stand, which super thankful for. But that is kind of I wish that, you know, it could stand better, but that's really just the price you pay for having a character with digitigrade legs. And I mean, I can only imagine how hard it is for them to stand on their own in the comics, you know what I'm saying? But the other nitpick that I have is that I find it very strange that his fingernails are not painted, that they are the same color as his flesh. I don't know, there's something just very strange to me about that. I don't know necessarily if that is canon or if there's actually any deep mythology to that. However, just, you know, in messing with this figure for this review, I noticed that and thought, that's very odd. Now, granted, I could probably fix that with, like, you know, just real quick, just to get some fingernail polish and just bust them out, you know what I mean? And give him a glow up or whatever. But still, it feels like a slight oversight on NECA's part. But you know what? They hit so much more out of the park on this figure. I mean, you know what? You know, this is just a minor nitpick. So, and it might not even bother you. So there you go. But I just thought it was fun to mention. Overall, I'm a huge fan of this figure, huge fan of this character. I think they look great. NECA did a fantastic job. And if you're wanting to buff up your Mirage Comics villain shelf, then Savanti Romero is a must. He goes so well with the comic figures, and he goes really well with Renee, especially the red-brown version. And so, yeah, because, you know, they usually show up together, so that makes sense that they're matching. And if you're a fan of action figures named after famous movie folks, then Savanti checks 2 boxes with his first and last name. So, you know, that's 2 birds in my book. And then if you're just a really big fan of horny action figures, then Savanti Romero has you covered. All right, well, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. If you want to see more from me, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments. Are you a fan of Savanti Romero? What's your favorite Savanti Romero appearance in all of TMNT history, I guess? And just really anything TMNT, let me know in the comments. And if you want to hear me speak more about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you can do that by finding my podcast, Turtle Soup Show, here on YouTube, as well as wherever you listen to podcasts. My friend Ryan and I have been talking about the Ninja Turtles for like over 10 years on that show. And so if that sounds like something you're interested in, then hey, come check us out. And until then, else time.